You are not being destroyed by this world. You are destroying yourself, day by day, by reacting like a child to everything that happens. You get angry too easily, hurt too easily, fall apart too easily, over a look, a comment, or some worthless trash on the internet. You spend hours reflecting and healing instead of taking action. And then you wonder why you're still weak, unstable, and unable to accomplish anything real in life. The hard truth is, your mind is too soft. And this world is not built for the weak. You don't need another comforting word. What you need is a mind of steel, a cold, disciplined will. Like the Stoics, they didn't complain, they took responsibility, they took control, they conquered. Keep watching if you dare to face yourself and begin the process of building a mind that cannot be broken. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like if you're new here. It helps me keep bringing you more valuable content. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. If you don't take responsibility for your life, you'll remain the worst version of yourself. Forever. I know that feeling. I used to live like that. Always feeling like everything was unfair, like I was unlucky, like everyone else had more opportunities. I blamed my family, blamed society, blamed my circumstances, even blamed myself, but in that self-pitying way, not the "I'll fix this" kind. All of it was just a way to justify one truth: I was failing. And I wanted something or someone to blame, instead of looking in the mirror and saying, I am the only reason this is happening. I realized life doesn't care if you're right or wrong, happy or miserable. It only cares about what you do with what you have. You could be born poor, grow up with nothing, be treated unfairly, never taught the right way. But if you use that as a reason to live small, live passive, just survive, then you're just extending the tragedy. No one else is going to carry your responsibility for you. No one. Not your teacher, not your partner, not your boss, not even your parents. You are the only one who can shift your own direction. If you don't, you'll stay exactly where you are, year after year. I used to be that guy who always said, I know, but you know that type? I know I need to change, but I'm not ready. I know I should take this seriously, but I've got a lot going on. All those buts are garbage, just excuses dressed up in laziness. The truth is, I didn't lack knowledge. I didn't lack opportunities. I lacked responsibility. I didn't stand up and do what I knew was right. I kept thinking if I waited long enough, something would shift. But it didn't. The only things that changed were my age and my self-respect, both going downhill. Once, my car broke down on the road. I stood there waving, hoping someone would help. No one stopped. But when I started pushing it myself, drenched in sweat, face red, someone pulled over. Someone pulled over. Then another. Then a group of 3 guys showed up. Nobody said anything. They just saw me fighting my own problem, and they respected that. That was the first time I fully understood. People help you when you help yourself. But if you just sit and wait, the world will ignore you, exactly the way you're ignoring your own responsibility. You could be smart, talented, full of potential. But if you won't take ownership of your life, it's all worthless. A real man doesn't live off memory or promises. He lives off what he does today. I've seen brilliant men live like cowards. Not because they're weak, but because they don't have the courage to say, I'll take the weight even if it's not my fault. Sounds unfair? Good. Life has never been fair. And grown men don't demand fairness. They demand the right to change their fate with their own hands. I'm not writing this to attack you, I'm saying it to myself too. Because every day I have to ask, am I living like a man who takes responsibility or like a grown child with a list of excuses? And every time I answer honestly, I adjust. I cut back on scrolling. I turn down useless drinks. I face the work I hate but still must do. Simply because I don't want to live like a coward anymore. If you're waiting for motivation to start, let me tell you straight, it's not coming. Motivation is the result of action, not the prerequisite. You don't sit around thinking it through until you're ready. You act, then you see where you really are. And every action you take, no matter how small, is your way of saying to yourself, I'm owning this. You may not fix everything today, but you can stop blaming. That's the first step. People ask me, where do I start? I always say, start by taking responsibility. Everything else comes after. You don't need 10 more books, You don't need another coaching seminar. You need to say one sentence to yourself. Nobody else needs to hear it, but you damn well better. Everything in my life, no matter who caused it, from this day forward, I own it. And when you live by that principle, you'll see something strange happen. You stand taller, you talk less, you do more. And most of all, you start to believe in yourself. Not because you're perfect, but because you're doing the right thing. Confidence doesn't come from praise, it comes from alignment between thought and action. That's the first step, the hardest, heaviest, most necessary step. And if you can take it, you'll be ready for the next challenge, accepting what's beyond your control without losing your calm. But before we even go there, finish this lesson first. Stand up. Look in the mirror and ask yourself honestly, am I living like a man who takes responsibility? If not, that's okay. Today isn't too late to begin. But you have to begin. No promises, no pretending. Just one action. Reclaim your life and take the damn wheel. After I started living like a man who takes responsibility, another challenge hit me. No warning, no drama. It smacked me right in the face through the most ordinary things. A canceled flight, a betrayal by someone I trusted, plans that fell apart no matter how carefully I made them. And that's when I realized there's something just as important as taking responsibility, knowing the line between what I can control and what I can't. Before, whenever things didn't go my way, I'd get pissed, I'd curse, I'd explode, I'd punch walls. I thought if I got angry enough, things would change. But no, nothing changed. The flight still got delayed, the girl still walked away, the market still crashed. And I was left with one thing, a burned-out mind from fighting battles that were never mine to win. The hard part is, when you've lived as a victim for too long, you blame even the things outside your control. But when you finally start living with responsibility, another trap shows up. You think you can control everything. And then comes the disappointment. Heavy, brutal, because you did the right things, lived the right way, took life seriously, and still got slapped in the face. If you don't grasp this principle, you'll break. I almost broke. I thought I'd changed enough. I thought I deserved to be treated better, to be recognized, to finally reap the rewards. But no, sometimes you do everything right, and the result is garbage. The problem isn't your effort, it's the nature of life. It doesn't promise to go your way. And I had to learn that lesson the hard way. If something's out of my hands, I don't waste energy on it. I save that energy for what I can control. My mind, my reactions, my next decision. Sounds simple, but it's one of the hardest skills in life, because you were trained the opposite from childhood. As a kid, you cried, someone came. You threw a fit, you got attention. You broke something, someone picked it up. You grew up believing, if I react strong enough, I'll get what I want. But adult life doesn't work like that. Grown-up life doesn't care how mad you are, how loud you cry, how wronged you feel. It only asks, do you have self-control? I had to sit down and draw two columns. On the left, things I can control, my actions, my words, my choices, my reactions. On the right, things I can't. What people think, what happened in the past, who leaves, who betrays me, who misunderstands me. And I had to drill it into myself. The left column is where I fight. The right, I let go. You can't drive forward if you keep staring over your shoulder. The past is a fixed obstacle. You have to steer around it, not wish it away. The future's the same. You can't predict it, so worrying about it just makes you useless in the present. I've got a simple rule now. If something isn't 100% in my control, I don't give it the power to steal my sleep. Not because I'm cold, but because I won't waste precious energy on things that produce nothing. I still care, but I don't get dragged. I still hurt when someone I love walks away, but I don't beg. I still hate being misunderstood, but I don't need to explain myself to the world. A strong man isn't emotionless. He just knows where emotions belong. He knows when to hold on, when to let go. And most importantly, he knows what to fight for and what to walk past. The beauty of Stoicism isn't that it turns you into a robot. It trains you to live like a warrior, unmoved by the bullshit. You don't chase opinions. You don't scramble for attention. You don't let one insult ruin your whole day. You choose where your energy goes because you know what's worth it and what's not. Even if you lose everything, money, status, relationships, you still have one thing, calm. That's the final asset of a man who knows he can't control everything, but can control himself. You may not win every battle, but if you keep your head steady, you've never truly lost. I know some people will hear this and think, then what's the point of living if I can't control anything? Let me be clear. You control enough to change your entire life if you focus where it counts. You control how you train, how you think, how you respond to setbacks, how you talk to yourself. You control how you move through a bad day without letting it ruin your week. You can't control the weather, but you do choose how you wear the damn raincoat. And right here, you start to see the crossover between step 1 and step 2. When you take responsibility, you build the drive to act. When you learn what's in your control, you learn where to direct that drive. No waste, no drama, no burnout, and then you begin to transform. You're no longer the guy whining about how hard life is. You become a man with gravity. People can feel something solid in you, even if you don't say much. Because you know, calm doesn't need to shout. It just needs discipline. Daily. And if you've built that, then you're ready for what comes next. One of the most powerful weapons a Stoic can wield, turning negative emotion into fuel. But wait, before we go there, ask yourself this. What are you still worrying about that you can't control? If something comes to mind, put it down. You've got a long road ahead, and you can't go far if you're carrying weight that was never yours to begin with. This isn't just a video, this is the reminder you needed today. Hit subscribe and like if you want someone in your corner pushing you to live by your real values. At some point, you'll realize this. Negative emotions are something no one escapes. They're not a sign you're wrong or weak. They're just human. You get angry, you hurt, you feel let down, you feel small, you get jealous, you feel broken. And if you're honest with yourself, you'll admit it. So did I. I used to hate myself for feeling jealous. I used to think I was a failure for still feeling sad, still feeling hollow. But then I realized the issue isn't whether those feelings exist. The issue is, what do you do with them? The difference between a man who collapses and a man who rises has nothing to do with who's calmer. It's about who knows how to use pain to move forward. I remember once, someone I trusted betrayed me in the worst way possible. It felt like being punched in the chest. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, lost faith in people. But the worst part was that I lost direction. I didn't know what to do with the pain. And because I didn't, I started destroying myself, drank more, worked less, avoided anything that forced me to face the truth. Then one night, I looked in the mirror. I didn't see the person who betrayed me anymore. I saw a man letting that pain turn him into the cheapest version of himself. And the question hit me, why am I letting them win again while I'm still alive? Right then, I decided, I won't let negative emotions wreck me anymore. I'll squeeze every drop from them. I'll use them. I'll make them work for me. I started channeling my anger into lifting weights. I took my pain and slammed it into the table, made plans, took action. I used my disappointment as a reminder. You let someone break you once, you won't let it happen again. So I rebuilt, piece by piece, with the very materials I used to think were toxic. Pain, failure, rage. No one taught me this. School didn't say it, books sugarcoat it. But real life is brutal. Not all negative emotions need to be healed. Some of them need to be converted into fuel. Someone left you and it hurt. Good. Remember that pain every time you feel tempted to go back to a soft, spineless version of yourself. No one gives you credit for what you've done. Great. Use that rage to create something they can't ignore. You feel jealous of someone else's success? Don't be ashamed. That means you want to grow too. The question is, will you let that envy drown you or push you further? I used to run at 4 a.m., not because I was some disciplined beast. I just had so much pain inside me that if I didn't run, I'd go insane. And those runs saved me. They gave me space to breathe, to think, to take all the chaos in my head and turn it into one clear goal. A Stoic isn't someone who feels nothing. A Stoic feels everything, but refuses to let any of it control him. He doesn't need peace to be strong. He finds peace in the middle of chaos. And to do that, you need to live by this truth. It's not emotions that decide your actions. It's your actions that decide how you deal with emotions. You can be tired, you can be angry, you can be heartbroken, and still get out of bed, still train, still write, still work, still fight. That's not pretending to be strong, that's owning it. Just like Eliud Kipchoge once said, only the disciplined ones in life are truly free. If you are undisciplined, you are a slave to your moods. And I swear to God, that quote is truth word for word. I used to be a slave to moods, to emotion, to impulse. I only worked when I felt inspired. I only treated people well if they treated me well first. I only tried hard when someone was watching. And because of that, I lived like a puppet. The strings were emotions, not willpower. But ever since I learned to use emotion as fuel, not the master, my life started to shift. I stopped dodging emotions. I faced them. I said straight to their face, "You're here, I see you, but I decide what happens next." And then, I acted. I didn't wait to feel okay. I didn't wait for the sadness to end. I didn't wait to heal. I just acted, even with the tears still there, even with the pain still fresh. Negative emotions aren't the enemy. The problem is whether you feed them or train them. And just like a wild animal, if you don't train it to serve you, it'll turn on you. And here's what I want you to take with you. You don't need to feel okay to do the right thing. You just need to act. The rest, your mind will catch up later. The next step, once you've learned how to burn pain into fuel, is learning how to keep your mind from drifting into the past or spiraling into the future. Because every action happens in one place only, the present. But before we go there, ask yourself one last question. That thing that's making you angry, making you sad, are you going to let it control you, or are you going to use it to break through? The choice is yours. It always is. There's a truth most people know, but live as if it doesn't exist. Life only happens in the present, right here, right now. Everything else, past, future, is just thought. It doesn't exist outside your head. And if you don't learn how to return to the present, you'll spend your whole life in illusion, never touching what actually matters. I used to be the kind of guy who lived in my own head. I'd wake up and immediately rewind yesterday. Why did I say that? I should have done it differently. I shouldn't have. And before I even finished replaying it, I'd dive straight into some sci-fi movie called What If the Future Goes to Hell? What if I fail? What if I never make it? What if they leave me? My entire day would go by without me actually being in it. What happens when you don't live in the present? You react slow, you disconnect, you miss opportunities, you let the things that matter slip past. Relationships, work, your health, because you're too busy stuck in the past or anxious about the future. I remember having dinner once with an old friend. All through the meal, I kept checking my phone, partly out of habit, partly waiting on an important email. She looked at me and said, "Hey, are you even here right now? Or is it just your body sitting here while your mind's already somewhere else?" That hit me like a slap in the face, because she was right. I was physically there, but mentally gone. And I'd been living like that for a long time, like someone constantly running away from the present. Sounds strange, but it's true. The present is the one place most people are afraid to be, because the present is the only place you can't fake. The past you can twist, the future you can romanticize. But the present, it's raw, real, unfiltered. Are you healthy or not? Disciplined or lazy? Moving forward or slipping backward? You can't hide those things in the now. And that's exactly why so many people avoid it. They use the past to feel sorry for themselves. They use the future to lull themselves into comfort. But the thing they really need to face is right in front of them, the present. And the present never lies. I started training myself to return to the present through very specific actions. When I'm eating, I just eat. No phone, no emails, no drifting thoughts. When I walk, I pay attention to my breath, my steps, the sounds around me. Sounds simple, but doing it is a war, because your mind will constantly try to pull you out. It'll seduce you back into old stories. It'll whisper to you about the future. But every time it does, you have to yank yourself back, like pulling on the reins of a wild horse. And when you're truly present, that's when you finally have a chance to change your life. Not tomorrow, not when you're ready, but right now. The moment you sit up straight, reset your goals, make that hard phone call, or walk out the door to hit the gym. Every change, big or small, only starts when you get a grip on the present. I've heard so many people say they want to change, but when I ask where they'll start, they say, "I'm still thinking about it." Thinking about it? That thinking has killed millions of dreams, because it makes you feel like you're doing something. But in reality, you're just delaying. I don't believe in thinking more anymore. I only believe in concrete action, in the now. You want health? Then today, what are you eating? What are you doing to train? You want a career? Then today, what are you learning? What are you building? Every promise is meaningless without a move right now. And don't tell me your 5-year goal if you can't manage 5 minutes of your present. Don't tell me how rich or successful you'll be if you're still dragging this video forward instead of doing the damn thing you know you should be doing. Stoicism taught me this. No one controls the future. No one rewrites the past. But everyone has full power over the present. And only by living well in the now can you rewrite the future and turn your past into a foundation, not a shackle. I don't live by feeling inspired anymore. I live by schedule. I don't wait to feel ready. I create the feeling of readiness by acting first. Because I know this, what you don't do today, you won't do tomorrow either. And every day you delay, the version of you that could have been dies a little more. I don't remember most of the plans I wrote down, but I remember clearly the times I acted immediately. Those small moments are what changed my life. And I want you to understand this loud and clear. You don't need the future to start living right. You only need 5 minutes right now. 5 minutes to stand up. 5 minutes to rewrite your goals. 5 minutes to unfollow things pulling you off track. 5 minutes to make the call you've been afraid of for months. 5 minutes to decide, starting today, I'm done hiding. I'm gonna live in the present, and I'm not walking away from this moment until I finish what I came to do. Because in the end, you don't live in someday. You don't live in the dream. You live in every passing moment of right now. And if you master the present, you can master everything. Right now, you can either keep being someone else or become someone even you would respect. But you can't do both. You have to choose. And if you're ready to choose, there's one last thing. You have to train this every day. Because if you don't, you'll slide back fast. And everything you've learned, everything you've realized, will turn to dust. I won't pretend that everything I've said so far will change your life, unless you repeat it every single day. Because the truth is this, no one becomes stoic by watching one video. No one builds an iron mind through a single epiphany. Awareness is one thing, but training, that's what keeps you living right. I've had days of perfect clarity, full of motivation, full of resolve. I'd write out my goals and feel like I was ready to flip my life upside down, but 3 days later, I'd be right back in the same loop. Sleeping in, scrolling my phone, eating like crap, working half-assed. And every time, I felt disgusted with myself. Not because I was weak, because I wasn't training. When I got serious about living right, I understood one thing. If I don't train daily, everything I've learned disappears. You can watch a video like this and feel something click in your head. But if tomorrow morning you don't act differently, this video will just be another fleeting piece of inspiration, like the thousands you've seen and forgotten. We don't get stronger during moments of excitement. We get stronger during exhaustion. On those freezing mornings when you still lace up your shoes and run. When your lazy brain begs for more sleep, but you get up and do what needs to be done. On the nights when your mind's a mess after an argument, but you still finish the damn report. That's training. That's discipline. And discipline, whether you like it or not, is the only thing that keeps you standing long term. Not motivation, not inspiration, not someone's praise. Only the habits you hammer into yourself every day are the foundation of a steel mind. I built simple, unsacred rules for myself, but I treat them like a weapon in war. For example, no touching my phone for the first 60 minutes after waking. Always write down something I learned by the end of each day. Exercise every morning. Even if I'm tired, I'll go light, but I never skip. When I feel negative, I don't post. I don't vent. I work. I act. And I remind myself, every time I do the right thing, I forge one more piece of mental armor. I wasn't born with iron discipline. I built it, one invisible action at a time, in the dark when no one was watching. The problem most people have is they only act when it feels like the right time. They wait for perfect conditions. But no one who's truly strong depends on outside conditions. The strong do the right thing even when it feels wrong. They stick to the code even when they're tired, unmotivated, or completely alone. I don't have some optimize your productivity schedule like those self-help books push, but I do have an unbreakable code. Every day, short, tired, doesn't matter. I have to act in line with what I believe. Doesn't need to be flashy, just needs to be consistent. Because a habit, if not trained daily, won't be strong enough to hold you back from collapse. And when you collapse, you'll fall right back to the old self, weak, reactive, out of control. A Stoic doesn't let that happen. He defends with discipline. He attacks with action. He sustains with training. Ask yourself, what did I train today? Did I beat laziness this morning? Did I act right in the middle of my anger? Did I do what needed to be done, even when no one praised me? Did I live like a man in charge of his life, or just a spectator watching it pass? I don't need you to be perfect. I need you to be consistent. A man who trains doesn't need to look strong. Strength shows up anyway, as a natural byproduct. And once you train every day, you'll reach a point where you don't need reminders. You become the kind of man you'd respect in the mirror. I want you to understand this deeply. No video, no book, no quote can train in your place. You have to step into the mental gym every morning. You lift the weight of laziness, of temptation, of delay, and push it off your back. There will be days you're tired, days you're lazy, uninspired, want to quit. Trust me, I've been there too. But what the hell are you training if you only train when things are easy? It's those days when everything's against you. If you still hold the line, then you've won. No need for applause. No need for anyone to know. Just you knowing you beat yourself. And when you stack one day like that, then 5 days, then 30, then a year, you'll see a different man in the mirror. Not someone who fears nothing, but someone who walks forward anyway, fear and all. That's a Stoic. That's you, if you choose daily, non-negotiable training. Because in the end, this path isn't for the smartest guy, or the best speaker, or the most passionate. It's for the one who never skips training. Thank you for being here. If you found this video helpful, subscribe, turn on notifications, and like this video. Don't forget to leave a comment so we can spread positivity together.